We are back with another Breaking with Brian episode number 2. Brian Bonilla, how you doing today?
It's good. This is the grind. I bet people thought, it was a one and done situation, but we're back and I'm excited, you
Bye
know.
week, we're back. We're not missing, maybe occasionally, but
Even
man,
during sometimes,
I
So
missed you. I missed you over these past 2 weeks. A lot has happened. Valentine's Day, Super Bowl. Oh my goodness, there's a lot to talk about. Are you pumped? I'm pumped.
yeah, I mean, I'm pumped. Well, first of all, I'm glad Super Bowl's done because that means me and you get to relax a little bit, you
Yeah.
know. But no, it was a fun time and I hope everyone had a good Valentine's Day, that it's been a week since, right? About a week or a little over a week.
That's right. I hope everybody enjoyed Super Bowl. Um, our agency had the Monday after Super Bowl off.
Yeah. Uh,
Super
we
Bowl.
we took the Friday off, the week. That's
You
that week.
got it. You got it. It's the Christmas of advertising, as my boss says. So, let's get into it. So what we're gonna do real quick. We got a couple different segments. We've been prepping. We're ready to go. We're locked and loaded. We got special stuff at the end of this episode we'll allude to. But first things first, we're gonna talk about Valentine's Day. High level overview. We got Valentine's Day. We're gonna talk about our favorite campaigns. We got agency headlines. We got Super Bowl. Um, we got rapid fire.
Yeah, and, maybe a special guest at the end.
Maybe.
We.
So Valentine's Day, let's go over it. Favorite campaigns. You're gonna pick one. I'm gonna pick one.
Right.
Kick us off here. What did you see? We saw a lot this year. Every year, it seems to be Valentine's Day is a spark, this pulse moment for creative campaigns. So, what did you see? What did you like, Brian?
Right, and, I'm already, breaking the rules here because I have 2.
Oh,
But, so,
that's fine. We'll allow it.
it's 2 different ones. So, on the agency side, actually, I thought of something interesting, Atlanta-based agency, Chemistry did, which was, a lot of times during this year, it's not just about brands. I think agencies try to use this moment to build new relationships with clients, maybe new hires, things like that, do something fun, right? And Chemistry decided to do something interesting where, they sent physical nightstands to potential clients. And, the whole idea is, that they're open to one night stands. So it's a little bit of a pun there, and the idea is, just saying, hey, we're open for business if you want to work with us on a project. And I, you know, I didn't know if it was going to work personally. Like I was just like, that's a
Little,
pretty,
yeah, little gimmicky, maybe a little out there. It's interesting PR for sure. But did it work?
well, I followed up with them I believe the next day or even the same day. And they sent it to about 20 potential clients, and they
Brands.
took it, yeah, brands, and it led to at least 8, they call it first dates, so 8 meetings, in the first month. So, I mean, I would call that a success, you know?
Yes. And
Right.
from a new business standpoint where I just started, I love that. That's smart. I gotta start thinking like that. So taking notes.
Open your wallet,
Yeah.
but that's on the agency side, and now on the brand side, this campaign, while there are a lot of campaigns of the week of, the day of Valentine's Day, I thought this one was pretty smart. It was, Sweethearts, the, candy with the, they have the little hearts and it
Little
has like,
chalk candies.
yeah, it has like messages on there like "I love you" and "Be mine" and things like that. And
Yeah.
it kind of flipped it this year, with the help of Tombras, the Knoxville agency, and they, did situationships. They created a situationship box of candy that, went viral. The idea was the candy itself would have the messages like blurred out, you know? And I thought,
Little blurry. Lines not
and
as clear in a situation ship.
I always look for like, are people talking about this outside of advertising? And, people on Twitter that I know that, aren't in advertising, people that I know are posting about it on Instagram, I see non-trade publications write about it, pick it up. And I think for a brand like that, where this is the one moment of the year where they probably get the most traction. I think that was a great flip on that.
Good point. Really good point. Right. We always want to break through into culture. We say that all the time on the agency side. If you can get into like some like new like if you could break through to the consumers and they're talking about it, that's a win. And I love how you pointed out too, like this is their moment, sweethearts candy.
Right, right, right.
Maybe there's other like Hallmark holidays, like Galentine's Day, I think is like a new one that I've seen. So
Yeah.
but the Valentine's Day, that's their bread and butter. They got to be geared up. So props to them tapping into culture. Gen Z, especially, I'm sure situationships are a thing. I'm not sure if other generations are entertaining that too. Probably, with the age of the digital and the mass amount of choice now with social media, we're not going to get into the whys of it, but I think that's really smart, relevant, and they
Yeah.
executed well. So they blurred all their candy, like the physical candy.
Messages, yeah. Um, and I thought that was interesting. If you want to read more, obviously we wrote about it, but like, you know, they talked about how they got that blurred out, in the back end process. And, I think it's like smart to use a product that already exists. It doesn't change much from the marketer's perspective. You know, it doesn't cause any like extra headaches or anything like that. Like it's just using the tools you have and flipping it, for a moment. Um, and I heard that some people were selling those boxes for about $100.
That's
So,
an eBay. That's an eBay.
right.
If you could keep and hang on to those little like little fun differentiators where that brands do, collaborations. I saw
Yeah.
Wolverine actually just did one with Red Bull. If you can keep those and like they're probably gonna be worth a lot of money. So, good
Yeah.
one. I like that. I have something a little bit different. Um, the headline here on Ad Age, once again, Brian, you're a senior reporter at Ad Age. I think people need to know that. So
Right.
we pull from Ad Age, the articles. This is our source here. So if you're not subscribed, reach out to us, look into it. You need to be subscribed, whether you're a student, industry professional. You know that. So we don't have to hang out there anymore. Sax underwear. You guys, do you have any Sax underwear, Brian?
No, but I should get some. I should get some. These,
They're
you want
nice.
to
Pre-
underwear?
I think the context, this is premium underwear. They have like this, we're gonna just be frank here. They have like this patented ball pouch technology for men that's supposed to be, and it's been on my radar for years now. That's supposed to be the best of the best. Am not in that bracket yet. Of I feel like I don't think I make enough money or whatever it might be. I always thought it was a premium brand, but they did a really interesting approach. And the headline is Saks Underwear is selling an upside down heart necklace that looks like balls in parentheses from Tim Nudd for Valentine's Day. So Tim wrote this. Our friends at Quality Meats came up with this concept for Saks. So they're selling an upside down heart necklace. How much was the heart necklace? Diamonds. It looks like balls, Brian.
Right.
Putting you on the spot.
So people need to understand. These are beautiful diamond, balls on a necklace. And it was a $5,000 necklace. Once,
Real.
yeah.
It
um,
legit. Legit diamonds. I'm not in the diamond market myself, but they look really nice.
yeah. When we sell that time product, uh,
Mhm.
via from Quality Meats, and yeah, I thought it was again just another like smart just awareness play. Low risk, right? $5,000, whatever it took to make it, and yeah,
Yeah, and we can get into the concept. I'll just do a quick top level. They're targeting the female, or the significant other in the relationship, uh, and we actually have maybe something at the end of this episode. I would suggest everybody listen to the end of this episode because we might have a specialist come in and talk about this for a couple minutes too.
right, yeah, they should.
Cool. Go and read that article. Really interesting campaign. Sax Underwear, Quality Meats, but also listen to the end of this episode because why should I explain it when we might have somebody else better to do it? So we'll leave it at that. Feeling good. Next segment, Super Bowl. We gotta close the loop here, Brian,
Right,
because
right,
we talked about it before our last episode 2 weeks ago.
yeah,
It was pre-Super Bowl. It feels like ages ago.
No, it's crazy. Like I thought, like it feels like a month ago, 2 months ago.
How
You know,
I don't know how this life thing is just moving quick. Like, soon we're gonna be in Florida, retired, talking about campaigns, and we're still gonna be doing this.
what if this
So,
podcast just goes into like existential crisis? Just like, wow,
yeah.
this thing. I mean, no,
Let's close the loop on it, Brian. So, post Super Bowl, what campaigns stood the test of time? What are you still liking? What is your favorite post reactions? What's your number one?
yeah. I mean, look, like if we previously talked about what we thought we liked and the strategy and
From the non-celebrity focus, right?
at the non-celebrity focus, and I gotta say, one of my favorite ads of the night was a celebrity filled ad. So the Dunkin ad by Dunkin with Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. I mean, I don't even know every celebrity. Tom Brady.
J-Lo, Tom
Frank
Brady.
Bill made an appearance for no reason. I mean, it was pretty interesting, and I judge it by a few factors. So one, I was at a Super Bowl party with 20 to 30 Gen Z to millennials, and
Mhm.
you know, I gotta say, a lot of the ads, people didn't really stop what they were doing to watch them, and I think that was one of the few ads that got that immediate like attention. And I think you know it had the potential to be gimmicky, right? Like it had the potential to be all right. They're dancing in tracksuits as a boy band, right?
So
Um, but I think it's one Ben Affleck. They're already using Ben Affleck for years, so it's already authentic to the brand, right? It's not like a new celebrity. It's something they've been building for years. That idea that Ben Affleck is just like you or me, and he's
Mhm.
buying every morning or or something like that.
Boston, are they based in Boston? Or are they just adopted in, like, Boston people love Dunkin'?
I'm not sure. I think Boston does resemble though, like those real like Americans, blue collar hard workers that I think gravitate towards Dunkin'.
Yeah.
And you know, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, obviously they worked on a lot of movies together. They came up, together in the industry. So it was amazing for me just to see that, combination of actors again.
Genuine friendship. We
Genuine.
know that they're it's pretty apparent that we know that they're true friends. They grew up or whatever it might be. They're just tight, and yeah, keep going.
Yeah. And like, interestingly enough, it was Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's studio, or I don't know what they call themselves, a production studio agency, but Artist Equity did the ad. They created that. It wasn't, Leo Burnett. It wasn't who's their AOR. And, I thought that was fascinating too. It was like, again, these celebrity owned agencies, coming into the industry, and here's a spot that I think it was like one of the top rated spots throughout, everywhere that I was reading. And it was just naturally funny, you know?
Oh, yeah. It aligned, it made sense. It was a lot of celebrities, and it's still going on today. Like, their TikToks, the
Nice.
social is like, I still see it, and they
Yeah.
have these new things that are coming out. You can tell that they had some thought and, like, how can we make this last? So it was not a one and done. It's
Yeah.
still coming out with new content that's fresh. Tom Brady whipping the football
I
at
mean, that's so great.
it
Like,
was hilarious. Quick.
I watched that more. Like, I enjoyed that maybe more than the spot. Like the Tom Brady, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck hanging out,
But
throwing around. But
and it started with, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it started with the Grammys. Didn't they have, like, a spot at the Grammys that was, like, alluding to, like, this it
either,
set the stage for it?
yeah, yeah,
Genius, and then it hit in the Super Bowl, and now it's, like, still pulsing through from a media perspective, like,
and they sold out. They sold the tracksuits that they were wearing.
and those tracksuits are beautiful, I want one.
Want one? Yeah,
I think it just catches your eye. Uh, Great, all around. So, I was gonna pick that one too, Brian.
no,
Um, so now I'm gonna pivot.
hard. I mean, it's crazy.
It's such a good one. And it on paper, it goes against my philosophy, but it opens up the conversation that we alluded to with the previous episode, where I like the non-celebrity, focusing on the good concept, but now my vision might be my 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 perception of this idea might be changed because I'm gonna call out Etsy and my guy David Colbush at
Mhm.
Orchard. you said that you were at a party with 30 people. I was in a hotel in Miami. I was speaking to University of Miami the next day,
Nice.
and I'm not going out. Super Bowl, Super Bowl. I was sitting in my hotel room in Miami, Coral Gables, alone. I had my phone on, I had my laptop in front of me, and I was watching the live stream by you guys. Ad Age had a live stream on Instagram. Tim Nudd was hosting it. He had like people come in because he's seen all the ads. We've seen all the ads. So
Right.
he was more so just moderating and inviting the people that made the ads on live.
Mhm.
Awesome experience. If you're a big nerd like me, that's like super fun. And I was like commenting and I was like I was like, what was your favorite ad? Like interacting with this community of around 100 people consistently. So
Yeah.
they're out there. Um, and David comes on and he starts talking about Etsy. And if you don't remember, look it up again. Uh, it was like regifting the French, like paying back the French and thanking them for the Statue of Liberty. And Etsy was talking about basically gifting them a cheese board. Really great. No celebrities in there. They love cheese. Quick. They bought it from Etsy basically. No, I think it was just a 30. No celebrities in there. I love that. But it opens up this conversation about celebrities versus non-celebrity usage in Super Bowl ads, which we alluded to before. And I'm starting to think that maybe the tried and true advertising concept without a celebrity might not be enough in Super Bowl. Maybe maybe you need that brand alignment. Maybe you need that plus up from a celebrity with the Dunkings.
Well, and I know we don't want to get too deep into it, but I will say, like, I think when you're spending that much money, there's that pressure of, you know, we want to make this like almost like a movie. We want to make this so big. And, often celebrities are tied to that. I would say, like, the Reese's spot, I think did well. And I think the Kia, was it Kia?
Mhm.
The
With the figure skater?
yeah, the figure skater, like, that one,
Beautiful. Yeah.
people, in my party, like, enjoyed as well, and so I think there's a way, but
Mhm.
I think maybe that Etsy spot, maybe these non-celebrity spots stood out because there are so many celebrity spots. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's the saturation, but it has to work, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
So I wanna give some love to that Etsy spot and to hang on to hope as well, but acknowledging I'm contradicting myself, but acknowledging that, maybe the future is like the celebrity,
Right.
focus. So we could talk for hours on that and, Super Bowl's done, and I think you're relieved.
Until
Um,
next year until next year.
until next year, and hopefully maybe some of our, maybe Buchin will have a spot. He's our creative director at Breaking and Entering,
Oh,
working at translation. Hopefully, we can talk about him soon. Or
yeah.
so next segment, Brian. Closing the loop there. We got eight. Looking at my notes here. We got agency headline of the week or the past 2 weeks.
So I'll read this headline and then I'll go into it. Former Mojo Supermarket executive opens creative consultancy. And this was, I wrote this story. And for people that aren't familiar, Mojo Supermarket is this agency in New York that, maybe 3 or 4 years ago launched. And, you know, it- they went from like 3 employees to like 60 in like 2 years or so. And they won the last grant FE for their work with Truth Initiative. You know, a small agency that has gotten, a lot of good clients. They're working with Eventbrite. They're working with, they have been working with StockX. They work with Meta. So this is one of those agencies that has gotten a lot of attention. Um, but interestingly, I think their founder, Mo Saeed, who's also the lead creative there, obviously gets a lot of attention. He's very, interesting to talk to, very outspoken. But he didn't build the agency alone, and he had a managing director named Kendra Schaff who helped build the agency, you know, up to like 60 employees and left last year. And this was, about her launching a new agency or consultancy, creative consultancy with a former DDB, DDB Chicago ECD. who Meg, who used to be the CCO at Ogilvy Canada, actually. And Kendra Shop did something interesting which caught my eye, which, while there's a lot of people trying to name agencies after kind of quirky things, like mischief, that mischief model, right? We're seeing, Murder Hornet is one agency,
Oh, yeah. Murder
Bandits
Hornet, yeah.
is another agency,
What was the last one? I was laughing.
Bandits and Friends,
Bandits and Friends, Quality Meats.
Quality Meats, right? So these interesting names, right? Well, Schaff actually, Kendra used her last name, Schaff, Schaff, I believe. Yeah. And then I thought that was just interesting. I've never seen a woman own agency that have like her name on it, So, I spoke to her, to Dylan, and, who he was a former Mojo executive, and now he's brand partnerships at Schaff. And I was curious, like, why launch this agency? Some of their inaugural clients are, Planned Parenthood, Savage Fenty, um, a sustainability project within New York City called Grow NYC. And, so what was interesting is this, they don't view it as an agency, they view it as a consultancy that won't grow past maybe 30 to 40 people.
Wow.
Idea is to not just create work, not just do like these like activations, but the idea is to work on your business work on brand businesses alongside them, solving behind the scenes problems, strategy problems, but also do creative work, which I
Wow.
don't think. So, yeah.
Huge news. Very interesting to me as well. I love that you brought this up. I wanna know why. I wanna know what was going on at Mojo. What's why the creative consultancy, like, positioning? To me, I don't see a lot of those. I mean, I'm tried and true creative agency, always been. To me, it's like, isn't consultancy more so like for the big, like, BCG, Boston Consulting Group, McKinsey, Bain, like, isn't that what consulting is? And more so like strategy, and they don't usually create. So to me, it's like two different business models, and merging it.
Okay. Well, I think, well, in terms of the leaving Mojo, when I spoke to Kendra, like she, you know, she explained she wanted to be closer to the work. And I think this allows her to, I think when you build anything, like when it gets to a certain number, like as an executive, maybe you're not, like you miss those days where you're, when there was 10 people and you're like, and,
Yeah.
and everything. And well, Kendra actually, she did some consulting, like, consulting for indie agencies. She said she tried that for like 3 agencies, and she realized that, that's also not how, like, she's helping grow someone else's business, and she wanted to grow her own business. And, you know,
Yeah.
wait, were you
What was that?
were you gonna say something?
No, I was just thinking about, like, Steve Jobs. He said, like, he never liked, like, the consulting aspect of the world. He's like, "You gotta have skin in the game and create your own thing." So she's creating her own thing, but it's consulting, so it's like a little bit
What
of a fine line, but
consulting
she's
like
doing her own thing, and I love that.
what consulting, like, it is becoming more popular in the industry. Supernatural has a consultancy, they're a small agency.
I gotta
Um,
get them on.
Arts and
Yeah.
you definitely should. Arts and Letters, launched one last year. Ogilvy. So a lot of these big shops have consulting arms. I think we are seeing that trend of agencies wanting to be known more than just for their advertising. And I know that sounds
Their creative output, yeah.
right. And I think it's just the nature of the business of, you know, some people feel that agencies maybe aren't as valued as they used to be just for the creative work, Uh,
Yes. Yes, and we're seeing, like, more project-based work. The one-night stands that we talked about before is showing, like, that you kinda have to be scrappier from an agency creative standpoint. So when you frame it as, and I'm learning, we're figuring this out right now. If you frame it as a consultancy, it makes more so of a partnership, and we're deeper ingrained into how you guys show up in the world, and it has that more lasting effect and impact. I like that.
but for me, you have to prove now, right? Like, when you launch a consultancy, what are you doing that's different than other consultants? And are you actually able to like impact business beyond making a 30-second spot or a social media
A
campaign,
different world. It's a
you know?
different world.
But I just thought that was interesting. And, Kendra, and Mo, when they work on Mojo, these are young executives. And I think like, we're seeing younger and younger executives who create their own businesses, create their own something, So I just think it's really interesting too.
It's inspiring.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
Gino,
really inspiring.
yourself, man.
We're doing
You,
we got some
you,
plans.
that's you, man. It's
We got
like,
some plans.
yeah.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, so that's my story of the week.
I
So
love it. What can people Google search, the keywords you think would be best to find that story?
yeah, I just think former Mojo Supermarket executive and then
Ad age. Yep.
ad age. Yeah.
Yes. Nice, Brian. Good story. That was all you?
Yeah. I mean,
Peace. Love it.
I mean,
Cool. Let's move to the next segment. What do we got, Brian? I think we got the rapid fire.
this is the fun one. This is the one where like, I don't know how you feel. I'm like,
I'm
I'm
pumped.
pumped. Yeah. I'm
We're
pumped.
calling this in because it's February. We're wrapping up February. Smash or pass on
Yeah.
story. Did we align on that? Is that good to say?
No, that's good. That's good. The
Smash or
idea,
pass? What are we gonna do, Brian?
the idea is, I'll rattle off some headlines and it's just one that you want me to go explain a little bit more about. You can say smash. And if you don't want to hear about it, you can say pass.
Ooh, okay. All right. So if I like it, I say smash. If I don't want to hear about it, people can still read about these headlines, right? They can still go to Ad Age and they can read about it. If I pass it, don't be offended. If you're listening, it's your headline, it's about you. Don't be offended. They still wrote about it. Go read it on Ad Age. But we're going to do this right now. Sounds good?
Let's do it.
All
First
right.
headline. First headline. BBDO New York's president and CEO set to depart this summer. Smash or pass.
Pass.
InOcean USA rebrands to broaden its perception beyond Hyundai. What do you think?
Ooh, interesting. Pass.
This.
That is interesting, though.
No, it wasn't interesting. WP's US revenue declined in 2023. AI critical to holding company's future.
Can you read that one more time?
WPP's US revenue declined in 2023. AI critical to holding company's future.
Smash.
Yeah, I thought you would just with the AI and it's an interesting one, So for this one, this was the earnings, WPP, released their earnings for the full year 2023. I spoke to Mark Reed, the CEO of WPP, and, you know, they're predicting, I think, basically 0 to 1% revenue growth for the next year. What I found interesting was the US, which is their biggest market, saw a decline, in the quarter and the year. Specifically creative agencies, with the exception of Ogilvy. So creative agencies as a whole, integrated creative agencies, had a 1.6% decline. But with the exception of Ogilvy growing, and
Yeah.
that's, more and more it seems like to be one of their that's their star at WPP. We're going to say something.
No, I just don't like this news.
It's, it's, I'm right. It's a bummer. Mark attributed a lot of that to, tech clients, which we've been hearing for the past few years now, just not spending as much, with agencies right now, but also not maybe investing in tech, forward campaigns as much right now. He was optimistic, for the next year, but it is, sector by sector right now. And I think a lot of holding companies are feeling that, maybe with the exception of Publicis. Um, but it's interesting. You have to know what's happening, right, with your holding company, especially if you work at a certain agency. Um, WPP reorganized its business units, so now there's VML, which I'm sure you saw the rebrand, and Burson is now the PR, and Ogilvy, so they're AKQA, right? So they're breaking Hogarth's production. So like they're breaking things down, they're simplifying things for clients. Group M is the media. I think the idea is eventually to simplify it for clients. And what I'm hearing that constantly now, clients want like a single place that they can do everything. They're bundling. That's why you're seeing holding companies bundle things together. And AI, is going to become a big part of holding company strategy. The question is who, I guess, will differentiate there. Yeah.
Right, internally and externally, right? Like, if they're consolidating these large companies, AI might help with the communications internally and the processes internally to streamline and more efficiencies, but then also externally, how they're producing work for the clients, they're gonna be tapping into that as well. Crazy times. We've been seeing the consolidation since 2015, 2016.
Mhm.
Publicis One, when I first broke into the business, that one, like, consolidating that model was my first internship, and they taught me about that. I was like, "Wow,
I mean,
interesting."
and
It's still going on,
Publicis is growing faster than its competitors right now.
so it's
And,
working.
it seems like it is, and I think, Artur Sadun this has done good job marketing that idea, of like Power of One,
Yeah. Power
Publicis
of One, that's what it was, yeah.
One,
And
and
then Marcel came out, and it was AI, and this was 2018, so it was kind of before. They were ahead of the game, it seemed like, from a holding company standpoint.
yeah. And I do think like, Omnicom has Omni, which is their own AI tool that they built. And I think at the end of the day, it doesn't come down to how do you show up outside. I think Publicis has done a smart thing of like marketing themselves. They did that. I don't know if you saw that thank you video like to all its employees where each employee got a custom video that was tailored to their like interest and their name, you know,
Damn.
and like that was just a proof point of like Pulis's AI work. And
Mm.
WPP had their own like conference to explain WPP Open, their own AI platform. So I think it will come down to how do you show clients the power of your tools.
Yeah.
Uh,
Good
so
headline. Good headline, good deep dive. Definitely people should check that out. What's the next one, Brian?
keep going. Let's keep going. So PwC appoints McCann as its global creative agency.
That's interesting. Pass.
All right. This is a fun one. McDonald's leads into anime with Wick Donald's campaign.
Smash. Let's hear about that. Love McDonald's of Chicago.
Are you
Base
are you an
beer.
anime fan? I'm curious.
What's that?
Are you an anime fan?
No, not too much. Growing up, like the Dragon Ball Z, of course, watched that. A lot of cartoons growing up, but I gotta get it. I do a lot of podcasting, so and like work stuff after work. So
Yeah.
I might get in. What show should I watch? Knowing me, what do you think I would be into?
Yes. It depends, it depends what you like. My favorite one is Welcome to the NHK. That's a very obscure anime that not a lot of people will know.
Where do you have isn't there like an anime streaming service?
Yeah, there's Crunchyroll. That's like the main one.
That just sounds yummy.
And I'm blanking on the like other one.
Crunchy roll. I want to get some sushi today, actually.
Well, yeah, yes. I mean, maybe you should get some McDonald's. I don't know.
Ooh, I do like
Yes. Hi back. So essentially, like what's interesting about McDonald's is that they're so massive, right? That they've had references, like animes have made references about McDonald's in animes for years, right? So, they'll just change their name a little bit. So Wick Donald's, WC Donald's has been used in animes as like the fake version of McDonald's so you don't get sued, right? So it's, fake copyright issues. Um, Another anime, The Devil's a Part-Timer, used the term Meg Ronalds, I believe, or Meg, so it's out there, right? And Martin and Kennedy, smartly enough, worked with McDonald's to lead into that, right? This anime culture, which is blowing up beyond Japan, has been blowing up. And, you know, Netflix is leading into it with like a One Piece live action movie and, all these things, right? So they're leaning into it by launching, first of all, a McDonald's sauce that will be available, you know,
Ooh,
and they're including anime art in their on their McDonald's bags and stuff like that. A QR code that you can scan, or you can go to the website, McDonald's website, where I believe from February 26th to March, I think 18, um, you'll be able to watch 4 episodes of actual anime, short anime episodes that were made just for this content, you know? So McDonald's is making these animes in collaboration with studios that have made anime like Naruto and other things like that. So they're collaborating with anime filmmakers and designers and things like that and illustrators. So, lead into this and create a whole experience out of it. You know?
Love it.
Yeah.
Tapping into those, like, communities, those segments, and it to me, that from the agency side and how these things work, I know that Widen, like, they encourage diverse thoughts and opinions, and they advocate and they encourage people to show up as their authentic selves. So that just kinda like I'm looking at the back end and I'm just saying I can envision, like, the culture there, that it was brought up through good relationships, trust within the employees. Somebody probably raised their hands like, "Why are we not doing this? Like, why are we not tapping into the anime world and these communities that love this? We should be doing this." And for them to say, "Yes, let's pitch it, let's sell it, let's be proactive,"
Yeah.
and it works because 'cause they're showing up as their true authentic self. I love that.
Yeah. And, McDonald's for the past few years, Widen has helped, you know, turn McDonald's into this pop culture, into the pop culture sphere with, the Grimace Shake and, the clothing, the toys, the adult toys. And I just think that whole brand and the work that's been done is just like a masterclass in like modern advertising.
I do dream about sometimes thinking about being in Chicago and the headquarters here, like, would be a great marketing angle to look into. Um, I wanna see what that world is like. Definitely wanna get somebody on from the brand side. So if you know of any marketing execs at McDonald's.
We could do a whole episode. We could do like a whole episode, like a McDonald's episode, and then just like me and you, then we get a few people,
Yes. From the marketing aspect too, because it's
They-
brand. It's a huge that's a huge thing to approve it and sell it and be on board. Because it's a
Well,
whole brand, yeah.
and if you're like such a large brand, like where do you go, right? Like, because you're one of the top companies in the world. How do you continue elevating? Um, and I just think the perception of McDonald's is different than what it was when I was growing up. When I
Yeah,
was so no, I just think it's a win situation.
love it. Nice job, Brian. Next one, let's go. Keep it rolling.
Let's do it. Um, Group N North America. Uh, Group M North America new CEO appoints his first executives. No, that's a media thing. I don't know. Really.
Pass. Love media, pass.
Steve Buscemi and Henry Winkler star as anxious pigeons in a new campaign for DirecTV.
Who made that?
That was the TBWA Shy Day Los Angeles.
Oh, that's fun, but pass.
Haleon hires collectively for influencer marketing an unusual 3-year deal.
Haleon, smash. Let's go. Tell me about Haleon. What do we need to know about this?
Shout out
Smash,
to
smash, smash.
shout out to Jack who wrote the story. Um, you know, Haleon, if people aren't familiar, they're a large, healthcare consumer brand company. They own things like Advil, Gas X, and things like that. They're a flu. Um, and they hired Collectively, which is a brand tech owned influencer agency for a 3-year deal. And
Brand tech influencer agency. Is
yeah,
that right?
brand tech group, they used to be you and Mr. Jones and then you and Miss
Got it.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but um anyway, this influencer agency gets hired by Haleon for a 3-year deal. And what I find significant about that is, you know, influencer marketing is just more and more becoming a you know, bigger investment for brands. And, when healthcare brands make a decision like that, um, I really take notice because, that means they're seeing something, you know, that they need to shift where they're going. And the CMO of Haleon was talking about in this article of the fact that they saw, usually they invest in like healthcare experts to like market their brand, but the healthcare experts are now on TikTok and social media, things like that. So now they need to know how to talk to Gen Z and millennials and things like that on these platforms. Ozempic is, a big example of a brand that could just blow up through TikTok marketing. So I think, we're seeing that trend, and I just think it's another example of that.
And it kind of like, I'm a little worried that to me, healthcare, like these like prescriptions or like these legitimate, like medical needed, not over the counter stuff could potentially be influenced, right? That scares me. Um, like
Mhm.
they influencing, are they influencing sales and like, could it be addiction? Like that
Right.
worries me. So how can you mitigate my worries, Brian? Like, like
Well,
influence any sort of prescription being influence scares me. So help me out here.
look, I mean, you're right to be scared. I think, Ozempic, wow, that was an example of that working so well. I mean, they're also dealing with legal issues and, cases now of, bad side effects. And, the jury's still out. I don't want to say, like, 'cause these are still ongoing cases. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, like it can be a risk, right? Ozempic, I think, is a unique situation where it was a new drug. It is a new drug, versus like an Advil or something where it's been, people take it already and it's
Yeah.
something you can buy at CVS or whatever. So I think that's where you can make that differentiation as a consumer. I think, I did a Gen Z panel this week, and
Oh, yeah, I tuned into that.
yeah, and they were talking about like they get a lot of their news from social media. That's their new like Google search a lot of times, right?
True.
And I think it will be up to the consumer to decide what's something I should be listening to or what's something I should have caution in. So
Yeah. But it speaks to the larger shift that, yes, influencing influencers, in general, it's not going anywhere.
no,
And the fact that the medical field, the med side of things has bought into it is like I feel like the last proof point that it's here. It's happening.
and because there's usually more red tape on that side of it,
A lot of red tape.
so when they're making those investments, you should pay attention.
Love it. I
All
think
right.
that's all we got, right, for rapid fire?
Yeah, I think we did a good job,
Fresh new segment. We mix it up, Brian. And I want to make sure people still listening, that surprise at the end, we're going to play that right now because we got the CCO and co-founder of Quality Meats to talk about that Saks underwear campaign live. We called him up and he was in his car. I texted him. I'm like, Gordy Sang is his name. I'm like, Gordy, we need you on for 3 minutes. Can you record something? So
yeah,
here it is. I
yeah,
think we'll definitely want to kick that off. So if you've been listening this whole time, here's a little treat from the CCO of that sex campaign from Quality Meats. Talk about it. Caught him off guard. So it's good stuff. A little treat for you all who stayed till the end.
enjoy.
And actually, speaking of, we actually have Gordy Sang from the campaign himself here, co-founder, co-CCO of Quality Meats to talk about the Saks underwear campaign. Gordy, tell us about the campaign from your POV. What was the strategy? Give us the rundown, 3 minutes or less.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Um, well, it was kind of a proactive idea, like we had a upcoming shoot for them just for a simple brand campaign, had our spokeswoman, and her gentleman friends who are clad in underwear around the home. And so we're like, okay, we have this film execution. What can we do proactively that could just take this simple, film campaign and turn it into something that has like, okay, a little bit more earned PR. And so the timing aligned. We're like, okay, well, Super Bowl's coming up. We're like, I don't know about underwear connection there. We're like,
Mhm.
oh, well, Valentine's Day and the whole campaign, how a gentleman treats his balls. the campaign is kind of turning underwear into a self-care category where it makes people question, like, why am I wearing $5 Old Navy boxers? I should be treating my balls better than that. I should be neglecting them, and creating conversation amongst both men and women. And a lot of the buyers of men's underwear are the female or the significant other of the guy. So speaking to couples and making them question, are they doing it right? So it seemed like a ripe opportunity to talk to the female consumer a bit. And it felt like a fun, low stakes opportunity if we made this singular one of a kind necklace. And the idea of the necklace, I'm doing this very fast and
That's the goal. That's the goal. You're doing great.
word diarrhea. Testicles, fun fact, are the original design for a heart. Like if you Google it, it's a thing. Weird. Like, I don't know why, I forget the reasoning why, but back in the day, whatever, like 1207, whatever that was, the heart design stemmed from a man's pair of testicles. And so we were like, oh, this is so simple. And then treating it in a very sincere way. And it is a beautiful necklace. Somebody bought it.
Really?
Yeah.
Right?
What's that?
$5,000 necklace.
5,000. I mean, it's 2 diamonds, legit full carat, 1 carat weight, 14 karat gold. So it's all legit. And it's, like if you didn't know that it was a pair of testicles, you might just think, oh, that's a fun upside down heart.
Right.
But yeah, so that's kind of the concept. And we kind of spitballed as the client. They were like, okay. But they kind of got on board quickly, and we just made it happen fast. And it happened within 2-3 weeks and kind of got it out there.
Perfect.
That's good.
Brian, you got any questions?
I mean, I had one, but if you have to go, Gordy, let me know.
No. I'm no longer driving, so I'm not in danger of dying.
So, what I know, like, Saks Underwear is, one of your, inaugural clients. And I think one of the clients that like gets that attention, right? Because of like the uniqueness of the product. But what I think what you guys do is interesting, in the previous campaign where you bought, Walter White's underwear from Breaking Bad and then created a whole scenario and like blew it up, and got this awareness. I'm curious, like when it comes to a product like this, where it can easily, if you go too far on the humor side, it could easily become like too gimmicky, right? Like, how do you straddle that line of humor and like serious selling products, and like this is a business that like, and people care about it too.
Yeah, it's a balance, because it's very easy, to your point, because we're talking about ultimately balls, which is very lowbrow,
Right?
Easy to go like lowbrow, haha, bro humor, and it's a delicate line. And so that's why, like, even the campaign and the part of the campaign of how a gentleman treats his balls is trying to elevate and do it in a sophisticated way, and being very sincere and reverent about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that juxtaposition, that contrast of sincerity and balls is comedy by itself. You know what I mean? Like, he tried for humor because of the topic. And then what's interesting is that it is so product forward. Their thing is this patented ballpark pouch. They were the first to kind of innovate that thing, and Tommy John and Fruity Loom, they since copied it, but that's like their focus. And they're so like, it's a $30 pair of underwear. It's not cheap. It's a premium product too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we put that forward, and that's like the key selling feature, putting that forward and treating it like because they passionately care about making sure men's balls are comfortable. It's interesting. It's a large, it's a lot of it's a female run brand. But they're so devoted to making sure men's balls are comfortable that by itself is like comedy gold. Just leaning into that and playing it sincere, and like, don't shy away from the product. You know what I mean? And so it is a fine line now, like, because it is so simple, just like any creative that just sees the opportunity of, oh, balls, you could instantly go, huh, yuck, yuck, comedy.
Right.
So like the key is to just try and be like overly serious to kind of contrast.
Yeah. It's almost like playing it, like having a straight man and a comic relief at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Well, Gordy, thanks so much. Gino, I don't know if you had a question.
Nope. Thank you so much, Gordy. Be safe.
Guys. Yes.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Boom. And we'll play that. And Brian, great week.
Awesome.
We'll talk in another 2 weeks. We'll post another episode in 2 weeks.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
Enjoy, man.
Good stuff.